Hi there, welcome to FMCG by Alex. My name is Alex, and today I would like to talk to you about business reviews and why to do them. I normally start with the why, but today I would like to start with the elements of a business review. So, what is inside a business review? A business review, in essence, is when you sit down with the distributor or with a retail account, so anyone who's selling for you, a channel sales account, and you are going over business review. It can be internal also, where you actually are doing this with your sales team, so the area managers, the area team, people who are actually going to customers and selling. It's a presentation of results versus targets. So you have a target that you set at the start of the year, and you're measuring the results year to date against that. So forecasting, targets, that sort of thing. This is the core of it. So these are the numbers. Then you share insights and problems. So people have a chance to say anything about the numbers that they feel like, okay, there's a story behind it, because numbers are just numbers. There is always a story about why something is a certain way. It's not excuses, it's a reason, the reasoning of it. So insights, so what is happening, what is the competitor activity, etc. And then you can discuss problems, so problems that are identified. That will lead to a discussions about solutions and fixes and action points to address. So there are various outcomes there where the action points are an outcome of your discussion with the team. So what needs to be done about this problem? How do we fix this? So normally when you start a meeting also, you start with the action points and check up on, okay, what's the status of it? Did we do what we agreed last time, or are there still blockers why this is not possible? I've sat through many of these, both at head office level, internal ones, and also distributor and retail ones. The issue with that is that a lot of this stuff is discussed, and there's a lot of agreement, head nodding, and all those things, and then it all sinks, to the bottom of our mind, basically. And then, at the end of the month, we say, okay, we're preparing for the next one, and it's all forgotten. And oh yeah, by the way, did we actually do what we agreed? So this is something that is human. So unless you really have a mindset that you are going to act on it, so rather than, oh, this is a meeting that I have to sit through, you really need to see the purpose of the meeting, because otherwise there's no point in doing them. So then we go to the why of a business review. So in essence, for me, a business review is to identify problems and fix them fast. So you go basically by the numbers, all the information is there, the data actually is there, and you can identify where the problems are. If a certain area is lagging, if a certain account is not, performing the way you want it to, is the problem of manpower? The person who is there is not doing a good job, or maybe is overwhelmed. Is there a problem with demand in the market? There are various reasons why why problems can actually pop their ugly head, rear their ugly head, and you can fix them fast. So business reviews, the frequency of the business review doesn't always guarantee that, do them more and you fix problems faster, but normally a reasonable frequency would be something that is required in order to stay on top of it. Of course, this is in addition to reporting. So the way I see it with regards to interaction with your team and with the distributor is like your team is actually checking day to day on the distributor. Then you have these business reviews to actually have a formal moment where you, as the boss, or as the manager, or as part of the management team, or your boss, can actually slam his fist on the table once in a while, or her fist, and say, this needs to be different, this needs to change, in order to change all these problems. So this is the thing that does not replace day-to-day reporting. A lot of information for you as a manager would come from your team to actually get these reports. You get daily sales figures if your system is set up for daily, or maybe weekly sales figures, weekly recap. I've always been in the lucky position to actually have mostly, knock on wood, mostly access to real-time data. So where every day we would get an update. But that is basically the reason that I'm very much a fan of this sort of thing, even though it should not replace the business reviews. And you need to give your people enough time also to recover from the previous one, because every single time going over, and creating another presentation for this, for this review purpose is maybe also not the best use of time. Keep it light, keep it short, keep it simple. The data is actually something that the system can spit out, and if you need something on a PowerPoint slide, okay, like you can do it, or you can have an intern do it basically for you and prepare the different elements. So, apart from identifying problems and fixing them fast, you are keeping attention of the distributor or the retail account that you're meeting. So, in essence, okay, you're in their face, you're there, you demand their immediate attention. So that's a very interesting side effect from this. Then you have an opportunity to make adjustments and deals. So let's say there is something you don't like, or there is an opportunity, there's a new thing in the market that you need to address, a deal that can be made maybe on the spot. Now, that's the moment also to address this in the business review. Normally, we used to use the business review also for the planning of next month's buying. Like, say, if you have a distributor, basically a national distributor that you're working with, then your business review is not only reviewing the data from the previous month or the problems from previous month, because the month usually is done still in progress, and you have a year to date or a month to date sort of progress, and then the previous month is also briefly discussed. But usually it's about work in progress and what needs to be done in order to achieve it, and then next month what should they buy from you, basically. So that's the purpose of this. So this is also the opportunity to make these adjustments. You need to look at it a bit like that. Of course, sharing information, what's happening in the market, any potential blockers, showstoppers, all these things are able to be signaled there, and maybe opportunities that you haven't thought about, or new retail accounts that they could get you into, or if it's a retailer, new developments in the category. Then it's already a bit like keeping the attention, but I mean strengthening the mutual relationship. Of course, if you see each other more often, you have lunch together, you spend more time together in the same room. You talk not only about business, but also once in a while about the family and about the sports and about whatever hobby they have. Strengthening the mutual relationship, it usually helps you get things done a bit quicker. If you have a complete stranger that you're working with, yeah, it's all nice. You can be all business, but they will maybe think of you more often when you have a relationship with these people. Some countries it's more important than others. Like I said, in Asia you have a very much a relationship focused business culture. In Europe, maybe a little bit less, even though I think it's important everywhere in the world. Then numbers don't lie. It all starts with data. So keep the data in mind with regards to everything you do. Then we go to best practices. So frequency can be monthly by monthly. It doesn't matter in the end. If you have a longer period of time that you need, it is of course fine. It depends a little on your team size and how much you have to do. If you have basically people in the field, yeah, maybe the requirement is not that much. But if you're having problems with your distributor, maybe a frequency of monthly or bi-monthly is quite desirable. Don't just do them at head office level. So that is something I've seen before, that at head office level there are very well willing people available who would like to say yes to everything, and maybe do things for you basically. But I mean the point is, with regards to head office, yeah, it's large organizations, they have of course a problem with being further away from the field, and it might take a long time for you to get things implemented in the field. So it's actually, if you do business reviews and there's problems identified, yeah, you need to also be able to act on them, and then doing them, for example, in the branch level, or at store level in some cases. That's actually a very interesting notion. Store level actually is not that common, but let's say cluster level, where you have small DCs that are serving several stores, or there's a cluster manager that you can talk to. That could also be the option. For distributors, normally this works best at local level. Then you need to create clear expectations and action points. Now, that was already clear from the previous slides, but without this, you'll be in limbo. You have met someone, you have smiled, you've shaken hands, and you've talked about the sales, and you've talked about everything but the kitchen sink. But you need to tell them clearly what you expect from them. So next time when I'm here, I need to have this and this and this done, and these action points need to be connected to it. Then, of course, very important that don't forget to follow up and check if it worked as planned. So in the end, you can agree on a lot of things, and then next month we'll see whether this works. But if you don't have any urgency, the sense of urgency at the distributor or the retail level will also not be there. Then it usually is also good to follow this up with the market visits. If you are having basically head office level discussions, yeah, the market visit to see if it's really implemented in the branches, and really implemented in the distributor itself, in the stores. That's a very important thing to see, especially if you're the one who made the deal. To see yourself and also discuss yourself. Okay, did it actually work the way I had imagined it? So if you sit behind your desk, you can have beautiful ideas about how things should work in theory. Unless you see it, unless you talk to the people who have to implement it, you will never truly know, walk a mile in their shoes. That's what I'm trying to say here. And very important thing that I would like to stress as well is that I've seen, depends a bit on the country you're in, or the culture you're in, basically. But Asia has the tendency to, bring a lot of people to meetings who don't contribute. So you have layers of people. So people sitting at the table normally are the ones who might speak or speak most. Then there is another layer of people around it. That's normally the staff that is sitting there for no particular reason. So unless it's an intern who is actually, really observing and learning from the entire experience, or someone who's new, you need to introduce, I could say, yes, okay, go on then, but only bring people who will contribute, meaning they will have to speak, they have to present, they have information to share, they are contributing to the meeting. Otherwise, it's a day in their work that they cannot work, in the day in their work life that they cannot work. So a day you're in essence paying salaries for people who are just sitting there listening to things that are hardly relevant to them. So the relevance is actually something that is very important. So the cost of these meetings becomes quite high because, you are having a lot of people on the company's time sitting there doing nothing. And in the end, they can't do their job because they can't do sales while they're sitting there listening to you and other people speak. So this is one of the things I would like to stress really as an important thing to keep in mind. It might be company culture, but then again, company culture sometimes needs to change. This is stuff that I would like to give to you as a best practice to implement. Thank you so much for your attention to watch this video. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. If you would like to get in touch with me about best practices or anything about FMCG, I'd love to talk to you. Alex at thefriessalesconsultancy.com. Please feel free to reach out. Thank you. Bye-bye.